Hello. So, it is time for week 3 of OFC Season 12. We are here against Neon Umbreon, which I forgot to check, but I'm pretty sure is the person who knocked us out of playoffs in the last season of OFC. I might be wrong with that, but yeah, they were the person who knocked us out. So they're good. They played really well, and yeah, they ended up even winning that season. They basically took a team over and didn't drop a game, since taking it over, and won the league with it. So they're a very, very good player, and they also took a lot of the Pokemon that I wanted. So a little bit of a grudge match, but also that team is very, very scary. The team consists of Iron Boulder, Hisuian Samurrot, Superior, Petulant, the new, I don't think it's classified as a mythical Pokemon, but the poison type, it's not showing on this dock because I downloaded an outdated dock and I don't care to download a new one. But they can Terra that. Zapdos, Donphan, Kommo-o, Dachsbun, Heatran, Spidops, Terra Kamala, and Terra Cacturne. Now those last three I don't think come here. Maybe Kamala. But I think Terra Petulant is pretty decent in this matchup. So I think they maybe leave Kamala. They might bring it for like a decent spin option into Golden Go. But they have Donphan, and Donphan's really solid into Golden Go, especially if they build it especially defensively. On top of that, they've got kind of the Pokemon that I wanted because I wanted to go with a spike stacking game plan in Hisuian Samurrot, and as a result, they are much better at hazard stacking than we are because we have to take turns, you know, actually setting them up, while Hisuian Samurrot sets them up and does the damage. On top of that, Iron Boulder is super scary. You let it take an inch and it will just destroy you. It is extremely fast, especially with a booster energy speed, and does insane damage. It's a very, very good Pokemon. Zapdos is just generally very annoying. Before Meowscarada got Triple Axle, it was the de facto best way to check it. Now not so much anymore, but still, static is still a thing, and I do have to be wary of it. Donphan, as I said, I think is a great bring here anyway because it's good into Golden Go. It's good into a few Pokemon, to be fair, so I think it makes a lot of sense. Kommo-o, you have to be ready for. If you're not ready for a Clangorous Soul Kommo-o, you will just lose on the spot. Dachsbun is a decent low-tier fairy, especially because it's quite physically defensive, so it's good into my Baxcalibur. Heatran, I think, is their best and most consistent answer to Meowscarada, but they also could bring it 4 backs with like an air balloon, or maybe even a Shucker. It's hard to say, but it's still really, really good into this matchup. Spidops I don't think it's worth bringing. I've got a lot of kind of mid to up speed Pokemon, and then a lot of my faster stuff I don't think there's a reason to bring Spidops for. As I said, Kamala could come maybe over Donphan, but I think Donphan generally does better, and then I don't see a reason for Cacturne. But the one Pokemon I left out was Petulant, because I think Petulant does come, partly due to it being a poison type, so it can absorb Toxic Smites from Glamora, but also because last week I actually had trouble KOing something that was quite bulky, that could Terra, and that was Dipplin. Dipplin last week gave us a lot of trouble, and we barely snuck out a win as a result. This time, I am going to be ready for a Pokemon like Petulant, and I have a dedicated Pokemon that is here for Petulant, regardless of what it Terra's into. For those who aren't super informed in Petulant, it's a Poison Ghost type with an ability that makes it so that if the opponent gets poisoned, it also gets confused. It's got 88 stats across the board, other than its defense being 160 for some bizarre reason. So yeah, it can super invest in special defensive, it gets recovery, it gets nasty plot, it gets a few ways to poison things, including its signature move, Magnolific Chain, something along those lines, is a 100 base power poison move that has a chance to poison, basically. But on top of that, it's got Hex and Shadow Ball for stab, as well as Terra Blast into whatever the Terra type they want. So, yeah, very, very scary Pokemon if left unchecked. So, you can kind of see the speeds down here. Like, we've got the same speed tie here with Ribombee with Iron Boulder. They're both 124 speed, but Iron Bolt can convert a booster energy and boost that speed, making it the fastest Pokemon that we can deal with. So, I had an idea on how I wanted to build the team going into this, and the team is kind of a bit more similar to how I normally play teams. Like, I've had to kind of adjust how I play this team because it's very different to how I normally play, but I've kind of fell back into a bit more of my old roots, while still keeping some of the elements of the team that are still there. So, this time, normally I go in alphabetical order, sometimes starting with the dedicated lead. This time we're going in 3 parts. This time we're going in dedicated lead, mid-game Pokemon, late-game Pokemon, because all of them are in that role. So, let's start off with the lead. The first Pokemon that I thought of bringing, Expert Belt, offensive lead, Blastoise. Now, this was my original idea, and it's kind of not as good as I was hoping, mostly because the whole idea was I was hoping to use Aura Sphere to OHKO, well not OHKO, but take out Hisuian Samurrot, but Hisuian Samurrot's actually decently bulky. So, we've got the Expert Belt with Surf, Ice Beam, Focus Blast, and Rapid Spin. We are unfortunately going to have to be relying on a Focus Blast. If they are leading Hisuian Samurrot, which makes sense, especially because I'm not really bringing anything that looks like a good dedicated lead other than Glimmora, in which Hisuian Samurrot bodies, Blastoise just kind of baits it in, spins away the rocks for the first time, because there's a good chance that they're going to be slower. Oh, sorry, they're going to be faster than my Blastoise. If it's just a standard Sash Leer to Hisuian Samurrot that was set up seasonal edges, hits us, take about 50% or so, because we got a bit of bulk, and then after the Rapid Spin, we'll outspeed them and take them out with Focus Blast. Hopefully. Got to actually hit the Focus Blast. We might get a second chance. We'll see, though. And hopefully that will just start us off completely not having to deal with hazards unless they bring like a Roxon Heatran, which is great. From there, they can bring in Superior or Zapdos, and we can get a massive chunk off with Ice Beam into it. Or if they want to bring in something else defensive, and I see that Blastoise still has value, we can just save Blastoise. So, that's the idea with this Elite Blastoise. It's likely going to be a 5-5 match pretty early, but I think it's still the right play. There's few Pokemon that I really need Blastoise for. The only one I could really think of is Donphan. But I still have good ways to deal with and pressure Donphan, because it has limited health, and the Pokemon I have could do enough damage into it that it can't really take hits forever. So, I'm bringing too much offense against it. Next up, we're going into the mid-game Pokemon. As I said, I'm bringing Glimmora, but Glimmora is a mid-game Pokemon, not because I plan on massively setting up hazards with it, but because it's my dedicated Petrarch check. Assault Vest Glimmora here, with Power Gem, Sludge Wave, Earth Power, and Energy Ball, with still Toxic Debris. I was very tempted to run Mortal Spin with Corrosion, because that can poison the Petrarch. But I felt like it was probably just a little bit better to make sure I had enough speed to outspeed a max speed Donphan and do good damage with Energy Ball. I could do about 60% with just a max HP Donphan minimum, which is great. So that means, like, once it takes Chip, it's no longer a reliable switch into Glimmora, which is, you know, amazing. But with the coverage that we've got ways to make sure that we can hit Petrarch regardless of what it terrors into. There's no type that they can terror into that can resist poison, rock, and ground. The Earth Power will be doing good damage, even if they are, even if they are specially defensive. They will have to force themselves to use a lot of their recovers before they are, you know, able to essentially get off enough nasty plots. And even then, they can't toxic us, they can't poison us. We're a poison type, so it still is absolutely fine. And we've still got a bunch of bulk that lets us kind of take it on. Now, if my call is wrong and they don't bring Petulant, this is still a good Pokemon. This is really good into both Zapdos and Superior, surprisingly enough. Well, Superior less surprising, but Zapdos and Superior is both really good into. Sludge Wave can just OHKO Superior if it's not HP invested. Which they may not want to go for because they're hella thunderous. They may want to make sure they're going max speed. And then Zapdos would take a ton from Power Gym, and neither can do a massive amount back. Now, Superior can Glare, and that's something I am going to have to keep in mind, because if I do want to keep Glimmora to be outspeeding Donphan, I've got to keep the Glare in mind. But otherwise, like, Glimmora looks really good into their team. Just the combination of good offensive coverage really does well. I've just got to be careful of any ground-type moves. Things like Komodo can run Earthquake, Heatran can run Earth Power, though, you know, I'm being optimistic here. Maybe we can live an Earth Power from a defensive Heatran with an Assault Vest. You know, we'll see. But, yeah, Glimmora looks really solid. Just as kind of a general AV pivot mon that can do good damage into a lot of different Pokemon. And they don't really have a great switch in to a lot of, like, to just multiple attacks from something this strong. You gotta remember, like, I've brought Glimmora once, I used it as a dedicated lead, and that was kind of it, and then I left it on the bench last week, and this time we're bringing it as a specially offensive breaker with good bulk with thanks to the Assault Vest. So we're getting to use a Glimmora in kind of a different way, but it's also not the only Assault Vest Pokemon we're bringing this week. Our Baxcalibur, Mr. Serial Girl, returning from UBL Season 10 Championship, is coming with an Assault Vest as well, our debut for Baxcalibur. Running enough speed to speed creep a defensive Zapdos with max attack, and then the rest in bulk with Ice Cold Crash, Glaive Rush, Earthquake, and Ice Shard. The reason for this is simple. It's good against some of the Pokemon that I previously mentioned, Superior and Zapdos, this is really good into, but this is also really good into switching into Heatran as well, especially Heatrans without Flash Cannon. I would expect that one of their ways to defensively bring Heatran here, which I would expect more over offensive, would be a Balloon Heatran, to kind of make sure that they have something that can potentially slow down a Dragonflow's Baxcalibur. Because if you look at their team, if they don't bring a boost to speed Boulder, which they may not, because I don't think Boulder is even guaranteed in this matchup, to be quite honest, but they still might just to make sure they've got the fastest thing. They don't have a lot once I get a DD off with Bax, so they may go for like a Balloon Heatran, and this kind of helps deal with that. As I say, it generally defensively checks a bunch of things and can switch in and deal really good damage. Ice Ground is obviously amazing coverage and has been, you know, since inception. So yeah, like, it's just gonna do a lot of really good damage. It can take hits, especially on the special side, thanks to the Assault Vest. And even some of the physical hits, even some, maybe even, it can definitely take a play rough from Donphan, that's for sure, and smack it back. Well, it will smack first with the Icicle Crash. And Ice Shot's really nice as well to be able to pick off a weakened Komodo, because I'll spoil it now, we're bringing a dedicated Komodo answer, because otherwise I will lose to that thing. But if it does end up not quite working out the way I want it to, Ice Shard can pick it off if needs be. And also anything else faster, you know, things like Super Speedy Iron Boulder, Superior who's kind of low, things of that nature, maybe an offensive Zapdos. Just having some priority somewhere is nice, especially one this strong, because again, 145 attack, we're doing big damage. Now, we've kind of got two special sponges, you know, as in, like, we could switch these into special attacks, not take a massive amount of damage, and then be able to deal big damage ourselves back. However, we need something to take on physical attackers, especially that Iron Boulder. As such, we are bringing our debut, the Poplar Sandaconda. Shout out to the Snake Eyes engine in Yu-Gi-Oh, baby! So this is our physically defensive Sandaconda here with Terra Water, Leftovers, Shed Skin, Stealth Rock, Earthquake, Stone Edge, and Glare. I do not want to be a sitting duck in front of Zapdos if I can help it, so that's why Stone Edge is here. Otherwise, this shuts down Iron Boulder like you wouldn't believe. A +2 close combat is not even going to 2-hit KO as sometimes with lefties. Like, that's how good this is. It's ridiculously good. Terra Water is kind of the option here, because if I want to kind of just Terra out of a type that Heatran is likely to go for, you know, one of its 2 stabs, we can resist either and then go for an Earthquake. We've got a little bit of speed, mostly just to kind of speed creep things. Like, it's not too much. Like, I think this gets like a min speed Donphan, not min speed Donphan, min speed Heatran, just in case it's not running any speed. So maybe that comes up, but otherwise, this is going to be dedicated for like our physical check. It can take Komodo hits if they are physical. I would expect special, but it can take physical Komodo hits. Obviously with the Terra Water, it can help take on what's it called? Hisuian Samurrot hits a bit better. So, and glaring things is also really, really nice. Just like if they're gonna switch out, then you know we just catch them with a glare. We also have rocks on this thing, which is really, really nice. They do have, I think, yeah, like the main removal is going to be the Donphan or Kamala, one of the 2. But you know, they've still got to be careful of like Golden. But even still, like making sure I can still have some sort of hazard pressure between, you know, we've got Toxic Debris to potentially set up T-Spikes, which is one of the reasons why I think they're going to bring Petulant, as well as having Rocks access, especially because I'm planning to try and deny them like their hazards early and then be able to find an opportunity to set up my own if possible. Not necessary even, but you know, it's possible if we get it, you know, a free turn where I'm just like, well, I could click Glare or I could click Rocks, and it's like, well, if they choose, if I've taken out their removal early, I may as well click Rocks and get the value. So we'll see though. This kind of trio is kind of our mid-game here, between Glimmora, Baxcalibur, and Sandaconda. The late game, however, we're going to get a couple of fast options to help close out the game. One of which is something I previously mentioned, which was something to help take on Komodo. And that is our Choice Scarf Ribombee. So, the reason for this is because of Clangorous Souls. Clangorous Soul Komodo is extremely deadly, and if you do not have an answer to it, you will lose. So I've gone with Scarf Ribombee. We do get to go Modest Scarf. I was tempted to go with Timid Scarf and go max speed and, you know, try and, you know, speed tie, use to speed Iron Boulder. It's not worth it. Iron Boulder's got good enough special defense where it doesn't matter, so there's no point. Instead, we're just going faster than Komodo because there's no other real Scarfer that they would go for. Like, are they going to go for a Scarf Dashbun or a Scarf Zapdos? I highly doubt it. So I just figured I may as well just go with Scarf. Enough speed to outspeed Komodo once it's a +1, even if it's plus speed. And then max special attack to do as much as possible, because there's the chance they do even run a Roselli Berry. And if so, that's the instance in which Baxcalibur will have to pick it up afterwards. But otherwise, Moonblaster will take that thing out, and the rest we've got to be able to put into bulk. With the bulk letting us take a plus speed nature, non-boosted attack that I would expect to be the strongest attack they can go for from either side, whether it be physical or special. So on the physical side, we've got that little bit of extra defense rather than just putting it all in HP to help take a poison jab after spike. After one layer of spike, just in case. And then on the special side, we can take a flamethrower. Ribombee is naturally higher special defense, and Komodo's naturally lower special attack. Kind of means we don't need to put any extra points in Spadef to make this happen. With the moveset, obviously, I've mentioned Moonblast. Bug Buzz, it's nice, like, we outspeed Superior with this, so if we need to just have an emergency, hey, I'm faster than Superior and can click Bug Buzz into it. Especially because I've seen them run Sub. And Sub's a very good move on Superior, whereas Bug Buzz will just go right through that and do massive damage. Trick, they have some defensive Pokemon, and then U-Turn, if needs be. There's no real other reason to run any other move other than maybe Energy Ball. But I think the moves that this has are good. Now, this is mainly here for Komodo and can be used in some instances. Maybe they have like a Scarf Samurrot. But for the most part, this is going to be here for Komodo and then a potential late game cleaner if needs be. If like the conditions are right for it. The main thing happening there will have to be Heatran and Petrant going down, or at least Petrant terroring into a different type that I can hit with one of my own stabs. The last Pokemon here, and similar to last week, was a Pokemon I was definitely up in the air about for a lot of my choices. And the one I ended up settling on was Choice Scarf Goldengo. Now, I wanted some speed, so it was going to be something fast. My original choices, I was thinking Thundurus, I was thinking Scarf Blaziken was on here for a little bit. But the notable one that is actually missing is Meowscarada. And I went with Scarf Goldengo, and I really thought about it, because I was like, why am I picking up Goldengo? Why am I choosing this over anything else? I guess briefly to go over the set and the spread, we are Make It Rain, Shadow Ball, Dazzling Gleam to hit the Komodo and the Hisuian Samurrot, and then Tricks to the last because it's generally good. With enough speed to outspeed an Iron Boulder that isn't running boost to speed, Max Special Attack with Modest, and then the rest chucked into a little bulk. So why Goldengo? Because if you look at their team, Meowscarada goes stupid into it. We've got Sucker Punch for Iron Boulder, or even just go Scarf. Hisuian Samurrot gets bodied by Flower Trick. Serp gets what's it called? Serp gets triple axled. Petrun gets bodied by knockoff Zapdos. Like, theoretically, a protective pads 4 attacks, no U-turn Meowscarada goes stupid against this team with just dual snare, play rough, ice triple axle. So why have I decided to go with Goldengo? Well, there's 2 reasons. One, I think they have to prepare for Meowscarada. So that's why I think defensive Heatran's going to come. I still think there's a potential they bring Zapdos as a backup, because like they still need answers to Meowscarada. As a result of this goes into the second reason where I think bringing Goldengo, this Scarf Goldengo, can make some of their Pokemon redundant, and as a result put us up even further earlier than maybe we even realized we could be. If it, for example, everything goes to plan, we KO their Hisuian Samurrot, and then they bring in their Zapdos that is, coming in. It's like, cool, I could hit it for 50%, but I don't care about this Zapdos. The only thing Zapdos is good for is this Blastoise. I can just save my Blastoise for later, and there's nothing else that Zapdos is useful for against this team other than switching into Earthquakes. That's it. It's not good into this specific team, so why would I give Zapdos the opportunity to be good in the game? If I go up 6-5, like by turn 2, turn 3, like, Zapdos comes in, and I switch out, and Blastoise just gets to sit in the back until Zapdos goes down, Zapdos doesn't do anything, so I'm essentially up 6-4 by turn 3. Like, just because I'm bringing a Pokemon that Zapdos doesn't do anything against. And this was a similar situation with Blaziken as well. Blaziken, Zapdos is quite good into, like, sure, it's not going to take the fire moves very well, but a static is a static at the end of the day. Whereas Goldengo doesn't have to worry about that. Obviously, it still gives me spin blocking and all that stuff. It's also just isn't defensive utility due to its typing and natural bulk, whereas some of the other faster Pokemon aren't. But also, I was worried about, oh, what if I can't lock into Scarf Shadow Ball? But the 2 main Pokemon that will be switching into that is Hisuian Samurrot, when planning to kill by turn 2, and Komodo, who has Bulletproof, who I've got a dedicated Scarf check for. So I don't care, I can just spam Shadow Ball in the late game. And it's not like I don't have other moves. Make It Rain and Dazzling Gleam are also very good moves. So I thought about this quite a bit, and like even after building the team, and I was like, do I need to make any changes? Am I missing something? And the more I thought about it, the more it's kind of like an extra meta game on top of things. Neon Umbreon's a very good player, so kind of getting in their head a bit and trying to play around what I think they're gonna bring, and also making them over-prep for something that hasn't even come, is really, I think, really smart, like unintentionally. Despite Meowscarada looking great, because I think there's a good chance Boulder comes, Hisuian Samurrot has to come in my opinion, and Donphan has to come. That's 3 grass weeks, so suddenly they have to bring like Zapdos, Heatran, and then it's like they're super limited in team building. Because somewhere they've got to have an answer to, you know, like DD backs or just any sort of backs. They've got to make sure they can, you know, stop the hazard game, because we can trade hazards, and they can set up all the layers of spikes if they want, but if I'm trading hazards for hazards, and then I get more up and still deny them their removal, then, you know, there's still a chance I come out on top. And it doesn't matter how many hazards they choose to get up, as long as I'm still just breaking, you know, because my team has the ability to do that. So it's a really weird dynamic, but I'm basically bringing Pokemon that theoretically are still fine in the matchup. There's enough. Scarf Goldengo's solid, it's perfectly fine. But it's not the best Pokemon I can be bringing, because the best Pokemon it's got to be prepped for in such a specific way that it makes the rest of my team that much better. Like, they've got to bring a defensive Heatran for Meow. Cool. This Bax ruins them for it. They've got to bring a Zapdos that they want to try and use as defensive check. Cool. The only Pokemon that cares about that is Blastoise, who I'm planning to lead, and maybe even Sack. Who cares? The rest of my team does not care about Zapdos. I'm bringing a team of Pokemon that really punishes them for building in a specific way that I'm expecting them to build. And if they don't respect some of the Pokemon, like if they don't respect Baxcalibur, then this Baxcalibur still can absolutely dent their team to a point they can't recover from it. And I've got checks to the Pokemon that can come in afterwards and try and, you know, revenge me. Like things like the Boulder, we've got the Sandaconda for. If they want to try and go for a Komodo setup, we've got the Scarf Rabombi for that. You know, we've got the options to still be able to take on some of the things that can come in, but also still pressure enough and make some of their Pokemon less useful. And force them to play with a more restricted team just because of how we built. Which is really cool. I'm really happy with this. Like, it's not really often I get to do something this cool, like in terms of philosophy and mind games and team building, and this sort of stuff is, this is what makes draft in my opinion. Trying to get your opponent's head, trying to figure out what they need to bring in certain ways, how they tackle certain options on your end, how do you tackle options on your end, and all this stuff is just, it's peak. This is why we play draft, because stuff like this does not happen in normal VGC or normal singles. This stuff only comes from draft. And this sort of counter-teaming, mind-gaming measure. So, yeah, really excited to play this match. We're playing it later today. I'm also super nervous for it. Neon Umbreon's a great player, obviously, so, you know, I can be spouting all of this stuff and be like, you know, still lose anyway. It's whatever. I still think it's really cool. And, you know, we'll see what happens. Maybe they bring an over-prepped team. Maybe they bring stuff that I'm not even prepared for. But I think I've tried to cover everything. I've at least tried to cover a lot of the things that I am worried about, a lot of things that I think I could have trouble with. So, yeah. That's going to be it for the team. I'll see you guys for the match. The only thing I'm going to do now is put it back in alphabetical order, because I just wanted to talk about it in this specific order, because it kind of made more sense. So, anyway, I'll see you guys for the match. Alright, let's do this. Oh boy. I had a lot of confidence earlier. But battle nerves are battle nerves. We've got the Cal Cupham ready. So the only Pokemon that I think are guaranteed to come here are Hisuian Samurrot, Donphan, and Heatran. Those are the first three. No Boulder. They did bring Dashbun. Brought Zap as well. And the Petulant that I was somewhat concerned about. Glad I prepped for. But yeah, no Boulder. I had a feeling. When I started thinking about the team composition and then wanting to bring Hisuian Samurrot and Donphan, it made me think they may not want to bring Boulder. I'm surprised they kind of didn't bring like an extra form of offensive braking, so I'm kind of curious what their game plan is here. Regardless, with them having Hisuian Samurrot, I'm always leading Blastoise. No Surf is really nice as well. If it's a Zap lead, I'll just hard into Glamora, because if they U-turn, I'll get up a T-Spike, and if they T-Bolt, or maybe, depending on if it's offensive or not, if they T-Bolt, it'll probably do like max 30. But maybe a bit more. Maybe do like 33. Is Heatran lead? Well, I mean, that's a good lead matchup for me. I cannot complain. Yeah, I mean, what's their Surf switching? I've got a decent bit of speed, so I should outspeed. Even if it's Spadef, it's getting 2-hit KO'd. So, maybe, like, not after lefties. What? 98% chance after lefties, so... We got a Zap. Some decent chip. No item. That has some Spadef investment. Not quite max Spadef, but it has some Spadef investment. I could go into... I think Bax is a safer play. Just because of the resisted T-Bolt. But God, getting a T... I'm gonna make the greedier play and go into Glamora here. They just go for a Roost. That's fine. What would they switch into speed? Donphan? I think going for an Energy Ball is a bit greedy. I mean, what are they going to do to me? I'm just going to make a safe play here. I'm just going to go for a Power Gem. Yeah, it was Donphan, but, you know, so be it. Ooh, that definitely has either Spadef investment or is Assault Vest. Maybe not Assault Vest. But it's got a bit of Spadef investment in it. So Energy Ball's not going to kill it. I think I just go into Blastoise. Get Seed Bomb. Yeah, I'll just go into Blastoise. That's a lot of damage. But, That was a lot of damage. Yeah, that's definitely attack invested. And I would argue That was... It did 63.2, which means it's got a boosting item. Okay, so it's a... Good to know. Okay, so... Ow. Ow, 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 ow. Why does my leg do this? Sorry. I get, like, cramp in my leg sometimes. I have to, like, stand up and stretch it a little bit. Right. So, that's at 62%. I'm wondering if I go for a rapid spin, I might get the kill with an ice beam. Oh no, wait, it roosted. It roosted, never mind. I'm just gonna go for a surf then. It's 34. And we'll go back into Glamora. Go for a discharge, no power. Damage on that. That seemed about average for, like, yeah, that's average for no special attacks after those. I'm gonna energy ball this time. Beautiful. We get the Dom. That's their removal gone for the game. When they see my set, they'll understand if we show each other sets. But I am not quite the Glamora they think I am. Although, to be fair, they saw that damage. They've got to think of something. Now, sadly, my Blastoise is not going to be able to take on this thing. Just because I'm slower, I had to take that Earthquake that was very strong. So I think... I don't know if Ribombee can even take this hit, right? Like, Samu? Isn't Aqua Cutter strong? I don't... Oh, does Aqua Cutter not give the sharpness boost? So be it. I'm gonna go into Ribombee and then U-turn, I think. You go for the Cutter. I'm a little surprised they went for the Cutter, but yeah, that seems pretty normal. Jet probably always kills us. That is jolly damage. Yeah, I realize now this was a mistake, because, oh boy, if this thing's max speed, I'm in trouble. I guess I have to Terra Water this, which is fine, that's not too bad. I'm gonna Moonblast. Nice! I had a feeling, like, in the back of my mind, I was like, what if they're Scarf, and they just go for another one? And, well, I'm Scarfed, so that doesn't matter. So I was like, well, if they Aqua Jet, then I know they're not Scarfed. But they stayed in going for a second Aqua Cutter trying to take me out. And, well, I'm Scarfed, so... Okay, that's really, really good. I can sack Ribombee here. I do not need Ribombee for this game. Gold looks really good at cleaning up with Shadow Ball. Zapdos is there, but as I mentioned in the team builder, Zapdos doesn't really do anything against this team. Like, it's going to be good against the potential Terra Water on Sandaconda, but... I was fine with letting Glamora go down. Sorry, with Rabombi going down there, because I kind of had to because of that poor play of switching in. So, yeah, I'm just fine letting this go down. If they want to set up rocks, so be it, but, like, I'm fine letting this go down. So be it. Rocks go up. I'll be switching into Blastoise. They do have Flash Cannon, that's good to know. I want to get rid of these rocks. That's the most important thing. So I am going to Rapid Spin here. If they go into Petrant, so be it. But I want to make sure I Rapid Spin. But they've got a fear of Surf coming out. Because, like, they've seen me click Surf. So, they, like, depending on how Spadef they are, they may not want to go into it. Glamora is still really healthy for the Petrant too, which is really good. I'm kind of glad I haven't pulled trigger on backs yet, because it's making them really scared with their dash button as well. So I imagine the dash button is here for backs. But, yeah, they're going to learn that, it doesn't really matter. Because, my backs is not the backs that they're expecting. I mean, dash button tends to hit on the physical side anyway. So, I mean, what's dash button going to do to Glamora, right? I could go into Sandaconda. I had dash button once. I just know it can't be hit by fire moves. Like, it's more so gonna just like wish support maybe. The only setup is maybe Howl. Yeah. But it does tend to go for more physical attacks, so I could just go to this, keep my Blastoise for another potential spin. I could also go to Glamora, but it does get Stomping, so I might want to be a bit more careful with that. How much Rock's gonna do this game? There's also, like, I could go into Gold. Like, Gold's pretty safe on this. But, how much is my Shadow Ball gonna do against, like, a Spadef? Ran. Like, nothing. Like, actually nothing. I need to make sure that Glamora stays a bit healthy, though. Yeah, I mean, I'll go Sandaconda. Like, Sandaconda doesn't need to be here for this game. They've got no removal, so I may as well just get up rocks. Like, I had a feeling Zapdos was going to come in. I could have Stone Edge, but I don't think it would have killed. I'm going to go into backs now. Because I want to make sure Glamora stays a bit healthy. Nice. No Paras. Kind of want to double into Glim because of the dash button switching. More to 79% after rocks. That should die. Yeah, I'm gonna double. Nice, we get a layer up, which is cool. So yeah, they go to Petrant to absorb it. And I'll go for EP. If they want to go for a Terror here. They double out into Zap, scouting for the Earth Power. Very, very fair play. But I mean, Power Gem still looks really good. Like, they have no resistance for it. Catch him with the Earth Power here. Ash takes too much from this. I've got a bit of speed, but probably not enough to outspeed a Dash Bun. And if they are carrying Stomping, I really don't want to get hit by it. So I am going to go to Blastoise here. Had the feeling. I'm just fine going for a Surf here. This is the point in which Blastoise can go down. I know that Dashbun's got good base speed. 95 base speed. One of the kind of appealing things about it is it's like a defensive mon that actually has decent speed on it. But I have to scout for any mon that has a ground type move with Glabora. Yep, they let this go. Which means Bax looks incredible. Obviously there's the Petrarunt, but, you know. I mean, Zap will die if it's defensive. I think there's no reason for me not to Surf. Yeah, because if they're faster, they're gonna Roost. And I'm in Torrent, yeah. I'm in Torrent. So they can't keep roosting. They have to kill me. Yeah. Then I mean, Bax can come in, right? Like, I can just crash, right? Like, they go to Heatran. I crash for, like, the tiniest bit of chip. And just go for an EQ. Like, even if there's Shooker, like, I don't care. Because what's a Flash Cannon going to do to me? I'm at AV. I will take it like a champ. It's like them relying on Petrarunt for this game. And I guess it just depends on what terror it is, right? At worst, I can trick the thing to Scarf. Like, yeah, at this point, like, I've got to trick Scarf for it. Like, it can't win. I've got to trick Scarf plus Glare. So, like, I don't think they've got the resources to win. Even if they go to Zap on this EQ, doesn't really matter. They are Shooker. They do live, but Flash Cannon does 45. So, you know. This dies to Rocks. Zap dies to Ice Shard if it comes in. I doubt it comes in, but if it comes in. Yeah, Petch comes in. I think I just go to gold and I trick this thing a Scarf. Like, I'll take one hit. It's Terra Fairy. Well, okay then. That changes things. Do I still trick this thing a Scarf? I want to look at max HP, max Spadef. I don't want to risk it. But if it's max HP, max Spadef, and it's Terra Fairy, and I hit it with a Make It Rain, it's got... No, this kills. Yeah, that always killed. Zap. I'm at -1 it. Thank you, Windows. They got cut off guard by my team comp. They were expecting, as I said, they were expecting Meow, and, yeah, they expected Meow. So, yeah, that's going to do it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.